Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're looking at the game Dodekka by Coiledspring Games.
Dodekka is a press your luck game in which players are going to choose between taking the first card or risking busting and flipping over another card, which may have you take all the cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the table. All right, I have Dodekka on the table here. Dodekka is a family game in which players are going to try and get different elements. And in this game, you are trying to collect as much as you can of one specific element, more so than the other kinds of elements. You've got your fire element, your ether element, you've got air, water, and earth. And so how this game works, and you can see also on these cards, you're going to see numbers between 0 to 4 in this game. Now, most of the cards are going to be 2s, and then you've got the next amount of cards being 1s and 3s, and then the fewest in the deck are going to be your 0s and your 4s. So keep that in mind. And how this game works, on your turn, there's always going to be 3 cards out here for the picking. And you are going to decide whether you want to take the card that is closest to the deck. And so in this case, that's going to be this Fire 2. Or if you don't want that card, you can turn out another card and put it at the end of the line. Now, here's the risk. At any time, if this line of cards equals more than 12, then you bust and you have to take the entire line of cards. And remember, you want to try to get cards in only one element, because the winner of this game is the person who scores the most combined in that one element, minus all the other cards that they have in their hand of differing elements. Those are going to be -1 point each. We'll come back to that here in just a second. So I can see here 2 plus 2 plus 4 is 8. And if I don't want this Fire 2, I might flip out another card and hope that it doesn't cause me to go over 12, which it can't, because the highest card in the deck is a 4, and that would make me only 12. So I know that this isn't going to bust me, and it makes it an 11. Now the next player would go at this point, and they would decide if they want the Fire 2 or if they want to flip out another card. And let's say they're going to play risky. They don't think that they're going to bust, and they turn this card over, and it's a 2. And so they did bust. They would have to take the entire line of cards, which may not be too much of a problem if they were going for yellow, because that gives them 6 points. And they would only take -1, 2, 3 points. So it may be a trade-off that they would want to do. But again, you don't know exactly what color you're going to be going for throughout the course of the game. You'd only do that if you knew yellow was the color of cards that you have most of, and you would want yellow cards. Now, let's say that a 2 did not come out, and let's say the player said, yeah, I'm going to risk it, I'm going to turn over another card, and it happens to be a 3. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because the card at the end of the line was a 3, and the card that came out is a 3 as well. If this ever happens and it goes beyond 12, as it is here, as you can see, we've got 14 out here right now, then this is considered not a bust, because the card that you turned out has the same number as the card at the end of the line. And so you lucked out. That's a good thing. Now it would go to the next player, and they would have to decide whether they want to take this Fire 2 or if they want to turn another card. And if it was not a 3, then they would bust and they would have to take the entire line. If instead it had been a 3, then again, it's a no bust, because the card at the end of the line is a 3. And so it would go on to the next player, and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much how the game works. You play until this deck runs out, and then all players are going to count up their cards in one particular suit. So let's say I had these 3 yellow, these 2, and we're going to say I had this as my final hand. Now I've got these 3 yellow, and I would probably count them as my scoring suit, because I've got more in yellow than I do in any other suit. So I would have a total of 7 points in yellow. Now I would lose 1, 2, 3, 4 points, because these cards are not yellow, so my final score would be 3. And that's how the game works. Whoever has the highest score is the winner, and that's how you play Dodekka. Okay, so here's Sam and I with two of our friends playing a 4-player game of Dodekka. And right now we're going to share our thoughts on it. I'll go first and just let you guys know that I think Dodekka is a fine little game. It doesn't take up a whole lot of space and is the kind of game that I think you would probably break out at a restaurant or a pub whenever we can go back to going to those places. I think it's one that, you can get in a game in 10, 15 minutes while you're maybe waiting on your food or whatever. And it's a fun little experience. It's got a lot of elements that are similar to blackjack and, not wanting to push your limit kind of games. And this one has, a little bit of strategy involved with it of trying to figure out what color you want to go for, and that's something that kind of develops throughout the course of the game. Lots of little fun things, characteristics with this game. What did you think about it, Sam?
I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it was pretty easy to understand. I will say that I only busted once, but it really did cost me the game for the most part. So I don't like that you can only... you really need to play well and play smart. Otherwise, you bust and somebody else is going to win. But overall, I thought it was a really fun game. It was, we had some good laughs and easy to understand. So I really enjoyed it.
Now, I will say that this game has a lot of luck. You're at the mercy of the cards and what comes out. And there are times when neither choice, whether you take the first card or you flip out a card, neither choice is good for you.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just, weighing which is the lesser of two evils. And some people might not like that. That might not be for everyone.
There's not a whole lot of strategy.
Yeah, there's nothing you can really do about that other than saying, well, it's better for me to take this -1 point versus risking taking the whole line. And then there's other times when someone might be in that same position and they make the other choice where they do flip out the card. And because it's the same number as the card before, they don't bust. Or if it's a lower number, they don't bust. And, that's just the way the cards go,
Yeah.
And that might not be for everyone. So if that isn't your kind of thing, then you probably won't care too much for this game. If that's something that you can live with, then this might be a game that you find enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, as a non-gamer, is that the sort of thing that drives you away from a game? Is it something that can kind of break a game for you?
Oh, I mean, not necessarily. I think it's such a quick game that it doesn't matter as much. I think if it was a longer game with all of that luck of the draw, that it would be a little bit more frustrating, but it goes so quickly and it is a lot of fun that I don't think it matters as much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I agree with you there on that. Like you said, if you had more invested in the time and energy that you would put into a game, then maybe that would be something that would be a huge drawback. But because this is such a short game, I think you can kind of just roll with it.
Yeah.
Is this a fun game? Is this a game that keeps you engaged?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun with 4 people too, which we don't always get to play.
Right. And I will, speaking on player count there, I do think this is a game that works best with higher player counts.
Yeah, for sure.
With a 2-player game, I think this is going to go back and forth. And you can probably still experience a lot of enjoyment out of that back and forth. But with more players, it sort of just feels like there's more of an opportunity for people to bust and be stuck in bad situations where you don't feel like you're the only person getting stuck in the bad situation, having to make those hard choices. And so it kind of can, ramp up the tension, if you will, with more people involved in the game. So I do think this game works better at higher player counts. All right, let's get into our ratings for this game. Scale of 1 to 10, love to hate. What do you give this game, Sam?
I think I'd give it a 6.9.
Okay, that's fairly high. Any reasons for that high of a scale?
I mean, it was easy to learn. I had a lot of fun. It's a good little, I wouldn't necessarily call it a party game, but it's a good one to bring out when your friends are over. It's a quick play.
A good filler.
Yeah. And I thought it was a lot of fun.
Okay, very well. I'm going to go ahead and give this game probably a 6.4. It's one that, like Sam said, is a quick little fun filler. It can kind of give your mind a rest because it's more of a push your luck kind of game.
with some choices that you have to make throughout the course of a turn. But for the most part, it's lightweight. It's not going to burn your brain, and it's just a quick little fix. So 6.5 for me there. Sam, is this a game that you would play with non-gamers?
For sure.
Excellent. And I would agree with that. I think it's one that does work well with people who aren't into deep, heavy thinking games.
Yeah. Okay. Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of our other content.
All right. I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.